I'm Agnes Woodward. I'm Nahiao from Treaty 4 Territory and a member of Kwakatu's First Nations. I currently reside in North Dakota on MHA Nation with my husband and my children. I am the project director of MMIP, a storytelling initiative with Seeding Sovereignty. I'm honored to share virtual space with families whose voices are the center of this movement. Before we bring on today's guest, I want to just give a gentle content warning. MMIP stories often contain descriptions of violence, death, and grief, and discussions about violence can bring up past trauma. So please proceed with caution. Some of this conversation may be triggering to viewers. The stories that we hear from MMIP families matter, and they should be told until there is no more missing and murdered Indigenous relatives. And with that, I'd like to welcome my guest for today, Cheryl. And hi, Cheryl.
Good morning, Agnes. Thank you for inviting me.
So nice to meet you virtually.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you
It's
too.
an honor
finally.
to have you. So would you do us the honor of introducing yourself and just telling us a little bit about you, what you do, and if you want to go into just sharing, some of your story experience, that's fine.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Cheryl Horn, and I live here on the Fort Belknap Reservation down in Montana. And I became involved in MMIW when my niece went missing in 2018. Her name is Tristan Gray. She went missing in Billings. So, as a family, that it's on you basically to do the investigation and all the follow-up. So that's our first, when I first became involved in the MMIP, MMIW, all the acronyms go together. We end up speaking for everybody. So this, and then in 2020, my niece Selena, not afraid, went missing on January 1st. Selena was 16 years old, and she went out for a cruise with her friend on New Year's Eve and never did return home on the time she was supposed to be home. And after a search for 20 days, her body was recovered, quarter of a mile from where we were searching. And so with MMIP, it's not something that you join, it's something that you're in, whether you want to or not. So in each family, you become a unit that decides who's strong enough to do this and who's ready. And at the time, I had no choice. When we were looking for my niece, my sister, she wasn't in any condition to be running anything. She's the parent. So as an aunt, I have enough love to do all of this, and I have more strength than her mom. And for me to be there at this time, I was there since they were born, and I'm still here. I'm still their voice because I have that much love for them and all their memories and all of the good stuff about them. I want that to be remembered as well as what they went through. We can't change what they went through. We can't change the tragedy, but we could use that to help others and use it for prevention, awareness, as an example of what does not work, how your life can end, and so being in this movement, it's an honor, but it's not something that I would have chose if you have the choice, it comes with a lot of heartbreak, a lot of tragedy. You have to be strong to support others as well as heal yourself first. After we found my niece, I had to work on myself, which was during COVID, so I took that time to do as many positive learning, self-healing, behavior change trainings as I could. I took a new job that had to do with that, because once I found my niece, pretty soon my inbox was full. People, just asking for help. Where do I go? What do I do? And at the time, I couldn't tell them anything. I would just say, just stay strong, document everything, keep filing your paperwork, keep in touch with me. This is the law. So in the meantime, between 2020 and now, I've worked with a couple groups to provide resources. So now I can say, here's this contact number, tell them I sent you, and they'll help you. And that way, I'm not overwhelmed. I'm not the only person that's there for them. And that's made me stronger to know that these nonprofits have built and since then, and they've helped families. Like the ones I mentioned would be sovereign bodies. They've gotten all of the families here in Montana. In the area my nieces went missing, southeast Montana, and the numbers are so high that they came and got us all together. And since 2022, I'm sure you guys are aware of it too. Now we're one big family, all the way up to Canada, all the way down. We go into Mexico, we go everywhere. And the more people that I visit, and I will say, okay, well, I know so and so, I'm going to let her know and talk to her. And they'll say, hey, I know her too. It's just so amazing. And these are people all over the United States, in Canada, and we're all connecting thanks to social media.
Yes,
I
I totally agree with that. I've had people
Mhm.
from Wisconsin reach out to me looking for connections because their loved one from Wisconsin is missing in Arizona, and just being able to like message and have so many friends who are not only family members but also advocates just act on that,
Mhm.
and that quick response is so important.
Yes. It's so good when we get to say, okay, I have an advocate. My newest advocate came with Oklahoma last week. I'm like, yes, it's so good to have a name.
Yeah,
And
yeah, it's
these are
definitely
all
great.
grassroots people,
Mhm.
we're all family. So,
Yep, yep, absolutely. So have you found comfort? I know, like you said, this is not something anybody chooses or wants to be a part of. I know that there are a lot of advocates who are not family members that step up to,
mhm,
their role and responsibility in doing what they can in their own communities.
mhm,
But connecting with other families and just sharing space, where there is an understanding. You don't have to
mhm,
explain the emotions. You don't have to describe.
mhm.
They just know. Like, do you find comfort in being around other family members?
Oh, definitely, and I find the most comfort to know that they can come to me and they trust me enough to come to me, for them
Mhm.
to open up and tell you something, the most traumatic event they've been through in their life, and to trust you. That has that's changed me for the better. It's
Mhm.
made me a lot more understanding and a lot more brave. You know,
Mhm. Yeah.
to be an advocate and to continually have to say I'm not an activist, but being
Yeah.
a grassroots advocate, it gets a little hairy, scary sometimes. So when people do say you're an activist, I'm like, oh no, please don't use that word to describe me. Not all jokes aside, that activists get killed. And
Yeah.
so when you're speaking out so much, you don't want to be labeled an activist, but you have to be available to the
Mhm.
people who have nobody.
Yep. Yeah, I totally agree with that. That's one thing I talk about pretty often too, is like that word activist. Like, people put like this, I don't know, almost like a radical view on anybody who's called an activist. And
Hmm.
I talk about, like, for this movement, the way that it's gained traction is by family members of missing and murdered Indigenous people that have like really pushed for justice, for visibility and awareness. And
Hmm.
we always talk about having a families first perspective in everything that we do, and that just means honoring those voices. so that those
Mhm.
voices are not left out, ignored. And if you call them activists, you're taking away from that sacred relationship of being a
Mhm.
mother, of being a father, an aunt, an
Mhm.
uncle, brother, sister, of being a direct relative to somebody.
Yeah.
And it's just better to
Mhm.
say a family member than an activist, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I often share. So
Yeah.
what does justice mean to you? Why is justice so important?
Well, in the last few years, I've realized that there's many forms of justice. When I first started this, I wanted somebody in jail. I wanted somebody to pay, right now I watch too much TV when I this came to my life. I had all these misconceptions and all these, here's all the evidence. We got all the evidence, everything, the driver, the video, everything. And he still went free. They don't do that in TV. So to me, justice comes in a lot. You have to look for justice. Otherwise, you can't have closure and you can't heal. If my only thing was seeing the hit and run driver in jail, I would be driving myself crazy, which I did. I did for about 3 years. I was angry. I was vengeful. I wanted, I went hard at him. But since then, since the justice system has told me that my niece isn't as important as his fear for his life, I've had to look for other areas of justice with him in particular. And night, you don't want to deal with the negatives of this, but for my own health, I had to see how his life was going, and it's not that great. And that's justice right now to me, because I have to accept it. It justice would be awesome if we could start seeing people in jail, but with the judicial system, it has to be clear cut case evidence
Mhm.
before they even proceed. So this is where you look for others areas of justice. With
Right.
Selena, I'm never going to get justice for her because it's going back to the same court system that has ignored 27 other cases before her. She's number 27, 26 before her. And there's more since then in that county, and none have been prosecuted. So no matter if the review is done by the Operation Lady Justice or not, it goes back to Bighorn County, who closed it within a week 2 years ago. So I know there's not going to be that kind of justice. We've seen one person go to jail over it, but I have to, for my own well-being, my own mental health, I have to
Mhm.
look for other areas of justice. And that's, seeing karma. Sometimes karma is justice for a family, because you just have to look for a way for you to heal, because it's
Yeah.
not 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be any jail doors closing.
Right. Yeah, that's something I always ask because it's something that I've like really struggled with,
Mhm,
is that word justice. And if you think of it in
mhm,
a sense of like, the criminal justice system, like, yeah,
mhm,
we know how that goes, especially for
mhm,
us indigenous people. But I guess I've really had my eyes opened more, talking with family members.
mhm,
And there's one elder, when I was talking with her about that, and she said there's justice in our hearts. The work
mhm.
that we do to continue to protect future generations, there's
Yes.
justice in that. Every time we use our
Mhm.
voice, every time we heal, that's justice. It's a different
Yeah.
form of justice, like you said. And
Mhm,
and even the thought of family members whose loved one is still missing, where there
mhm,
ever be that form of justice, like, and even healing.
mhm,
How is healing possible when they don't even know
mhm,
what to heal from? Um, and that
mhm,
it's just difficult, it's difficult questions, difficult. They're not easy answers, but I really appreciate, what you offer to that
mhm,
question because fully I agree with you. There's other areas that, we
mhm,
have to find justice
mhm,
within ourselves, within
mhm,
our families, our communities.
mhm. Yeah. And, my nieces, I'm just happy that their stories are still being told. I was afraid that, especially with Tristan, geez, I would literally go scream at the top of the rims in Billings, Montana. What am I supposed to do? And I had nothing. I couldn't, nothing on Google, anything. So even if they won't get, the justice in the system, but their names are out there, their stories are out there so that people will say, hey, that's not safe. Your friends aren't safe. People you think you're friends, don't do the alcohol. Don't add alcohol because it could end your life. It did my nieces, and they're not drinkers. They weren't drinkers. They weren't problem girls. But they made the choice to go out with people they thought were their friends and added alcohol. So that's where now, with me being able to go around and spread this awareness in their name, that's probably the only justice and the rest in peace they're going to get. And in the meantime, that's all I can do for their mother. I'm still trying to help my sister heal. That's trauma. That's like, part of my life is making sure she's okay every day. And
Yeah.
thanks to resources, like I said, that are built now, there's times when things overtake you and you need a little bit of help. Now I could say, reach out to sovereign bodies, and say, what kind of resources do you have? Everything from mental health to money to, whatever the family needs. They started out really small. They've recently had to stop taking new clients because they're up to 300 clients in Montana families.
That's just in Montana.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but these resources are there, and we're still going. We're still building. We're still talking. We're still having the conversation. It's still, people are still saying, how can I help? As far as that, like that justice, when we talk about that, recently I had a lady, she owns a lodge, in Montana, and it's on Crow Country back in, we all know where our ancestral lands are. So she reached out to me, and I have this lodge, I have this space, and I want you to use it, however you want. So we're using it for two mothers to take them there for some healing. We're going to spend, 4 days just working on them, concentrating on them at this space that was offered to us, just from this lady. She's not a social, this is the kicker, Agnes. She's not a social media lady. She does not get on social media. But the one time she got on social media, she's seen my niece's story and she's seen my name. And then she got off again for a year, and she got back on and Googled my name, and all the stuff came up, that's been happening since. So she, it was just a sign to her that this is the woman that, I can help and who can help others. So yeah, we got this space, and she's offered it every year. As we're trying to figure out how we'll utilize that space, we are going to invite families there, and that's where we'll have like a summit. So as long as this is happening, our families can work to heal. It takes a long time for the mothers to heal, but when they do, all we can do is stand right next to them. And that's a glorious day when the mom can stand up and say, I'm ready to fight for my daughter, or my son, whoever it may be. But until then, you have someone in the family who knows they're strong enough to take it, because it's not a pretty job, but there's so many positives that are now happening because of the negatives. So that's what keeps you going, keeps you inspired, keeps you, you don't shut off, you don't, because of the positives and the good that's happening. The girls that are reaching out and saying, thank you, we don't do this anymore because of what you have offered. And so it's all worth it. It's not, there's nothing I could do to get my nieces back. We all would do anything in the world to get them back. you know.
Yeah.
But what I can do is keep going forward with their stories, their names, and being their voice, and letting girls know that, you know, you deserve to be safe, you deserve to be protected, and
Mhm.
you are enough, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I love all of that. And again, that's such a common thing that somebody in the family,
Mhm.
steps up to be a strong voice and a strong advocate,
Mhm.
and just using that personal lived experience as
Mhm.
the flame behind like the advocacy work that they do. I think
Mhm.
that is so common and so inspiring, and I think people really need to hear that when they're at tables planning events, planning symposiums, planning anything, that there's so many voices out there that are family members that bring a unique perspective that is
Mhm.
not just about statistics and data and
Mhm.
awareness, you know, and like the prevention work that you're doing
Mhm.
in your own community, with trying
Mhm.
to advocate for young girls who have been victimized or exploited in some
Mhm.
way.
Yep.
I think that's really powerful too. If you want to talk a little bit about
Mhm.
that.
Okay, well, you know, in my community, I'm in a small reservation here in Montana, and back in, oh gosh, 2019, I think it was, maybe late 18. A grandmother called me on the phone, woke me up early one morning, and she said, "My granddaughter's gone." Yeah. And she said, "Nobody will help me. The cops." She's 18, but she's special. She's special needs, you know. So I start making calls and calling around, and she thought she was picked up by somebody. She said because the laundry basket was at the back gate. You know, she acted like she was going to go hang up laundry, but she had it like somebody picked her up in the back of the house and left. So what I did, I went, you know, called the council, called the cops. They even sent an officer to my house to quit posting about it, you know, about this girl missing. And so I said, "No, you bring a court order to my house and I will stop." So in the meantime, I start calling all these local, when you leave our town, you're going to hit another little town and another little town. So I start calling these little stations, asking them to look at their camera for this girl. And I sent them a picture. Sure enough, they got her. We got her on camera with a black man from Chicago. He came to get her. He got her on social media. He groomed her, and he came and picked her up without even meeting her family, nothing. Just picked her up and turned around, took her back to Chicago. So with all this, after I finally convinced them enough to at least call the Chinook Police Department, because they're not really going to listen to me, a grandma on a reservation. So it was finally, yeah, finally turned over. And yes, they got her in Chicago. They had to, you know, put her, I don't know what you would call her, debrief her, you know, get her some help. And that was, you know, my first real experience with realizing that there's people who can help and they're not helping. And sometimes it takes a normal grandma like me to do things. And so with that, you know, I've been in a community. I've worked in social services. I've worked in TANF. My family that we haven't in the last few years, but we, you know, we do free community eggs hunts. We do kid rodeos. We do my family is that's what we do. You know, we're committed to our community because that's how we were raised through our grandparents. And so with me working in all these jobs and working in a school, I let these girls know that they can trust me, and I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of a man. I'm not afraid of a cop. I'm not afraid of the justice system. I'm not afraid. And that makes a huge difference, you know, and because with society, even leaders, tribal, all the way up to the top, it's males argue and males being dominant, wanting to be the alpha male, you know, and they're all scared of each other. They're not going to get confrontational, and they can't solve things without getting angry, you know, kind of thing. So these girls, they have to have they have to trust somebody. We have to be there for them. If we don't, who is not going to? Because so far nobody is, you know, except the community people, and that's on us as a community. It's on me to know what my neighbor's little girl is doing when she's walking down the street, making sure she's okay, watching her, making sure she gets where she has to go. That's on me. That's on me to be in stores and watch these girls and, and make sure nobody's bothering them. Well, I was in the school system and it was happening under our nose. But when I would report things, it'd be like it was no big deal. Oh, he's like that or what. So now that I'm not in the school system, I can finally help these girls properly. And they can trust me because I'm not in there, and that's very crucial, that trust. And I have to maintain that trust with them. And with that trust comes everything I say has to be the truth as I know it.
Yeah. It's just so disappointing, when the school system and the trusted adults that are around our children, for most of their day, that we can't rely on them to put their
Mhm.
safety first, to listen to what they're saying, um, and really be advocates with us for the safety of our children, for the betterment of our children. And I know what that experience is like. I've had to take it all the way to school board,
Mhm.
on things that were said to children by adults in the school. And when teachers, and especially people who come from outside the community that are not native, don't see value in the needs of our children, don't see value in the safety of our children, they're just continuing a pattern that places our children in harm, that
Mhm.
doesn't um, see our Indigenous children as just good people that deserve to be treated the same as, anybody else.
Yeah. One positive thing that, I'm getting out of this is children are advocating for their friends. Sometimes they don't trust an adult, so they'll tell their friend, and then that friend turns around and advocates for them. That's going on right now, and I'm applauding these children. They're brave to stick up for their friends. And the way they know they can stick up for their friend is they know they have a strong family behind them. And I tell my granddaughter this, the first
Mhm.
thing was, how about you? Anything? And she's like, nope, they know better. And that's the truth because we taught her to know better and to let them know she knows. But not
Mhm.
every child has that support system. So we've also taught my granddaughter that you stick up for people who don't have that. You stick up for wrong things. And so these children advocating for each other right now in the school here that's going through all this, it's heartbreaking because they're advocating, they're telling who they're supposed to tell, and they're being told not enough evidence, to kids. They're not cops who are telling them this. This is the
Mhm.
school system, the principal, the teachers, and they're mandatory reporters, and they're not reporting this to the state of Montana child abuse hotlines.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
I try to always just stick with the positive at the end of everything. The positive is that our girls are finding their voices. Our girls do know there's others, and they're reaching out and supporting each other the best they can. And these older young ladies that have already left high school are standing up. That
Mhm.
Me Too. It's basically the Me Too movement here. I've said this
Mhm.
because they're all saying Me Too, Me Too. Hey, that happened to me. And I'm even when they're 18 and graduate, that's still not okay to reach out to them. It's
Mhm.
just they're still growing, they're still developing, they're still children. Just because the
Yeah.
law says you're a legal adult, that doesn't mean you're grown. That doesn't mean you're ready for the world.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that, and that's again, with social media, there's so many cons, especially when it
Mhm.
comes to young people, but there's also pros. Like,
Mhm.
my oldest daughter is 14, and there is so much that she puts her energy into, even if it's, their social media platforms, and she learns a lot, and she helps teach me things that, I'm
Mhm.
not up to date with all the, newest terms, and, yeah, just things that she's constantly teaching all of us in our home. And I'm really glad that, she puts her energy towards just learning how to be a better member in society, wherever we are. And
Yeah.
I know that um, yeah, I think our youth need more support in their own leadership roles. We
Yep.
need more things that empower them, that, kind of
Mhm.
guide them, mentor them so that they can be the voice because they are the future. They're the ones that are going to
Mhm.
change the way things are now. And empowering our youth is just, a better future for all of us.
Mhm. Definitely.
Um, is there anything that you can share about your beautiful nieces? Any favorite memories? Any stories in particular?
Well, my nieces, they're funny. They're so funny. So, Tristan, she was the oldest sister. Then there was Selena and Zoe.
Mhm.
And but Tristan, yeah, she is loved by so many kids. She worked at the school here up in Rocky Boy, the next reservation over, and she was really into makeup. So me and her mom were always her, test dummies. So one of our best memories, we still laugh. One time we both had the big when the poofy bang thing come in. Me and her
The,
mom had the poofy bangs,
yeah,
and we had eyebrows. She did our eyebrows, and we look like Indians. And we just laughed so hard because that she's like, "Can I practice on you?" And then just miss her. We miss that. We miss that. Our oldest girl. We miss her.
mhm.
and
Yeah.
and Selena, Selena was she was so kind and rarely seen her sad. Rarely seen
Mhm.
Selena sad. She was always trying to, okay, okay, just let's get out, let's go on. Even with helping us plan three of her siblings' funeral, actually, and she would be the one who would just remind us, we got plans. We're gonna get out of here. Mom, we're gonna move. We're gonna do this. And having that energy, all our focus being on
Mhm.
Selena and then her gone, it's you live on memories, but you're trying to deal with her dreams still. You try to deal with her goals. So the best thing we can do is we try to just keep telling each other funny things, no matter what. We don't talk about it as a family. It's there. The hard truth is there, but we do
Mhm.
our best not to talk about it,
Mhm.
because we want to remember the best parts of them. That's
Mhm.
not part of them that we want to remember. It's part that we deal with, but it's not something that makes us happy. So we are always going to have those memories of them girls, and just continually talking about them and encouraging families, as we're doing this, you have to continually heal, just
Mhm.
continually heal. Take the breaks. If you're, as advocates, it's hard to say this day I'm not answering my phone, because you do. We're
Mhm.
gonna say it, but take the time to, enjoy the good stuff that you did. Go camping if your loved ones went camping. I like to go to races and rodeos because that's what Selena liked. That's my memories. Powwowing, they both powwowed. So when I'm there, I can remember them. I could even pretend I'm looking for them. When you see the crowd. So they're there, and in my mind, I know they're there. I know they're dancing already in there. So, um, you take all the good memories and you work on them. You work so you don't forget them, because that's the worst part is if you start forgetting, and
Mhm.
our whole being, our whole part of healing and dealing with this is the memories are keep us going, so just keep them positive memories, positive
Mhm.
stories, positive stories. Sometimes as Native people, we're told, you don't talk about that. You don't, all these stigmas that come with Native death and all of this trauma and stuff. Well,
Mhm.
we have to break these molds. We can't stay quiet. We have to cause trouble. We have to,
Mhm.
because our loved
Mhm.
ones deserve it. Selena deserves it. She deserves her story told all over, so all the little girls will know. She had this good, happy life. She had this dreams. She had a future, her and Tristan. They had everything going for them. Till one night they added alcohol to their story, and their story ended. And as many good, happy memories as I have, that's the main memory I have to get out for children. I want you to remember her in a good way, but you also need to learn from what we've learned.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's I think it's really important for, other families to hear is that reminder to talk about the good things, talk about, the positive memories and the good feeling that you had in that moment, in that memory, with that loved one.
Mhm.
I think that's really important for anyone who's trying to heal from such an unjust way of losing, your loved one.
Mhm.
And so they were Tristan and Selena were sisters.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely well, I feel for your sister.
Mhm.
As a mom, that's
Mhm.
auntie mom,
Yeah,
that's just
she's
one loss
mhm.
is your younger ones.
Yeah. Yeah, you spend their little life knowing that you're gonna I don't know if we're morbid or not for thinking this, but I'm here for you if nobody else is. It's gonna be me, kind of thing.
Mhm.
We take that real serious
Yep.
as auntie moms, as whatever we people call themselves.
Mhm.
That's a serious role to know and to say, I'm here. If anything happens anytime, I'm here. And the thing about all of this is my nieces, they know I'm here. I
Mhm.
know they know I'm here,
Mhm.
because they know their mom has to heal because she has so much love for them, and
Mhm.
she gave birth to them. She made them, you know?
Mhm.
And so when I do this and I look at my nieces up on my shelf, I talk to them and I tell them I won't quit because I know they're saying, "Don't you quit," because I raised them like that.
Mhm.
I raised them to stick
Yeah.
up for themselves. I raised them to be strong girls and speak out. So the fact that I want the awareness and everything to focus a lot on the alcohol is that's it. That's the common factor we're finding, it's just it's just so important to get this awareness out there. Like, please don't don't think you're safe.
Mhm. Yeah, I think you also play auntie to a lot of the girls in your community too, right? You have that big
Mhm.
auntie energy,
Oh
and
yeah,
wanting
yeah. Hmm.
to be a
Yeah,
safe
because a lot
person
of
for
them
them.
don't have one. Yeah, so I'm I have to make myself available to them because I trying to think of when I grew up.
Mhm.
I didn't have that kind of person who will say, "Hey, you come over and talk to me and tell, and I'll go speak up for you." You know, you have
Mhm.
Andy back in my time. We got cussed out. So I try to take that a little different with my approach.
Mhm.
Because when I would get cussed out like that, I wouldn't tell them nothing. I'm like,
Right.
oh no, I'm not gonna. So I'm in my family. I'm strict and I'm no nonsense, but I'm the one of the most loving people and it's um it's it's just in order to do this, you have to be both of those things. You have to
Right.
be strong, and like I said before, when I came home from looking for my niece, and I was dealing with natives, the Crow tribe, the people there who did it were Crow tribal Indians. I pulled over and
Mhm.
I told my boyfriend, "Get all them arrows out of my back. Because that's who was fighting me, was the families of these people who took my
Mhm.
niece. They were mad at me. Even the people who were associated, they were all mad at me and their families. So
Mhm.
what I would do, I just put my phone number out there. Well, let's talk. Let's have a
Yeah.
real conversation.
Mhm.
but nobody's brave enough to have a real conversation.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
few
No, that's
actually pick up the phone, and because I don't like to Facebook war, I'll put my
yeah.
stuff out there, but I'm not going to sit and go back and forth with anybody. I'll just offer my number and we can have a discussion on this. It's always good to hear more than my view. My view isn't always right, so these
Oh,
discussions
yeah.
and these conversations have to happen. And they're slowly starting to, that there's this layer of anger amongst
Mhm.
people before
Mhm.
they address the reality and accept it. They try to
Oh,
get
yeah.
angry first. Oh, why didn't they knew better? Why didn't they stay home? Why didn't they not? There's that blame. And I'm not sure, I wasn't around back then, but I'm sure a few hundred years ago and a couple of generations ago, that wasn't happening. Like I
Mhm.
said, I wasn't there, but from the teachings we know, that wasn't going on. So our
Yeah.
culture is leaving us. It's culture based is what's going to
Mhm.
save a lot of our stuff.
Yes,
So much
absolutely.
culture based
Mhm.
savior out there, but we're losing our leaders. We're you know we're losing people who could even give names to our people.
Mm. Yeah, that's so much truth in that. And I'm with you on the going back and forth on social media. Like
Mhm,
so much of what you say can be misconstrued, and then
mhm.
there's just no end in sight, right? And that's something I
Yeah,
always learn from my husband is like it's better to have either face to face conversations or at least on the phone so that you
yeah,
can hear each other fully,
yeah.
not through the lens of a screen. That
Mhm.
what you're trying to convey doesn't always become clear.
And I feel like social media, everyone thinks you're hollering at them or arguing I'm like, I love having conversations. I love having my mind changed actually, because sometimes
Mhm,
my mind is closed. And so
mhm,
any kind of conversation that benefits me or changes my behavior in a positive way, I encourage that. I'm not argumentative. I might get a little radical and but that's where it takes you, sometimes it feels like you're the only one who could understand this in a certain room, and
mhm,
we're not radical. We're blunt, we're to the point, and we're going to tell the truth. That's what we are.
mhm.
Because we
Yeah.
know,
At the
because
end
we're
of
living
the day,
it.
yep. That's what matters at the end of the day is the truth. And the
Mm-hmm.
truth is something that we have to always honor. And
Mm-hmm.
it's something you said earlier about the anger that so many carry.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about anger, that's like a secondary emotion. If you peel back anger on anybody, even the most
Mm-hmm.
violent person, there's always something else there, whether it's
Yep.
envy or jealousy or guilt
Mm-hmm.
or experience that goes back to their childhood when they were really hurt. And something might trigger that, and they flash out with anger. And so,
I
like,
get water.
just understanding that part just stems from just generations of trauma with indigenous
Yep.
people.
Mm-hmm.
Residential schools with the 60s group, like foster
Mm-hmm.
care, the way it's affected indigenous people, that separation of culture, that separation of expression in culture, of who we are, where we come from, like separation of family systems and the way
Mm-hmm.
that traditionally we should treat each other, especially our women. Like there's so much interruption that has caused a lot of pain and a lot of hurt and a lot of anger. And I think scratching the surface, a lot of people in our communities don't even realize, how it all plays hand in hand. Um, but yeah, healing again is just the most important
Mm-hmm.
step towards ending any of that violence, hurt, and
Mm-hmm.
anger, and pain, healing from
Yep.
all that trauma.
Yeah. Yeah, that goes back to, when before, like I said, I used to think, I want justice, I want you in jail, I want you to pay, and
Mhm.
now it's, I want to forgive you. I want to stop hating you. I don't want, I want to be able to have a good day without thinking about you and being angry the rest of the day.
Mhm.
That's the goals for not just me and parents, and it's for the whole family has to feel that way. And
Mhm.
and that's hard, but it takes work. And when you get there, though, it's makes it a lot easier. I've took me 4 years at least to get to forgive, you know
Mhm.
and but it's better on me.
Yeah. That's another word I used to really have a difficult time with was forgiveness,
Mhm.
um, because sometimes it's easier to stay angry at the people who harmed you or harmed your loved ones. It's easier to be angry than it is to forgive. It takes so much healing work and so much energy and dedication towards that, and yeah, it used to be something that I didn't like the word forgiveness. But I recently, visiting with actually another family member, she was an elder and she just had stuff, beautiful things all over her home. And on her wall, she had this paper where it was written out, because she does a lot of workshops and stuff. It said, "Forgiveness is giving up all hope of a better past. How
Mhm.
important is that to you?" And I had to like read it a few times to really try and understand, but that's really what it is like because we cannot undo the things that have already happened. We
Mhm.
just have to find ways to heal and move forward with our lives because when we carry all of those difficult emotions, it just ends up hurting us, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Physically, emotionally, mentally, all these different ways. So
Mhm.
yeah. So as a family member, as such a strong advocate, are there any changes that you would like to see in this movement when it comes to awareness, when it comes to advocacy? Do you think there are, images or words or things that misrepresent like how you feel, or do you think that there's things that may be harmful or triggering to families that could
Mhm.
change? Is there a way that people can do better? Um,
Mhm.
what are your thoughts?
Well, number one is we need to support these families. We don't abandon them. We don't say, well, your son was a bad person. Your daughter would choose to go
Mhm,
drink. Your daughter disappeared on her own. We don't say them
mhm.
things, number one, and
Yeah.
and if we can do that, then all the other things, getting awareness to the children is an issue right now. I'm trying to bring this, and it's like you're poking a bear. You know, the more you
Mhm,
open up, the more you figure out, do you want to keep going? Do you want to keep poking that bear? Well, that bear has to move in order for us to get our business done. So you got to keep poking the bear, you know,
right.
um, whether it comes to bills, getting bills. We got a few bills here in Montana. But not only that, a lot of this is just on paper. So my concentration isn't really up here as much as I am there on the upper level. Mine's on the ground. Where needed this, it needs to happen here. It needs to happen in my
Mhm,
neighborhood, in your neighborhood. It all starts here. And if I'm out doing all these other things and these girls in my own hometown, my own neighborhood, my own community are being hurt, I'm failing them.
mhm,
I have women in my own community against me. I always wonder, with their own comments like, I thought you support all women. No, I do not support all women because there
mhm,
are women out there who are perpetrators. There are women out there who are in positions to help and they choose not to. There are
mhm,
women out there who, just not good women. So the only argument my women in my only own community have to say negative about me is, oh, I thought you were get for all women. No, I'm not. I'm an advocate for victims. You know, you can't throw that in my face if I'm calling out somebody who's hurting people. You can try, but I do not advocate for all women. That's not who I am. I advocate for victims, for families, and anybody else who asks me to, because I know that women are also, you know, on the other side of my fight.
Right. Absolutely. I'm so happy to hear you say that. I feel like we don't hear
Mhm.
that enough.
Mhm.
And there's a stigma with boys and men as
Mhm.
well. And that's something that I'm starting to learn and just try to understand more that there's much more victims
Mhm.
within, the male gender that we don't hear about because of the stigmas, and just
Mhm.
trying to find a way to create space for everyone so that healing can happen. And
Mhm.
just understanding that, like you said, females can be predators as well, and
Mhm.
that we all deserve to be heard. We all deserve to have our voice heard, and yeah, to be included in the spaces that offer those conversations
Mhm.
and that healing.
Yeah.
Um, so I wanted to take a moment to just share some of the resources that you talked about, because I know that when it comes to other family members, maybe there might be a family member that watches this, maybe they're from Montana, and just knowing that there's resources out there that are helpful is really, really important. And knowing
Mhm.
that places like, if we could share Sovereign Body
Mhm.
Institute, like Sovereign Bodies Institute, I know, Anita has connections all
Mhm.
across North America.
Yes.
And somebody
Yes.
like her who is dedicated to families, dedicated to the safety of our people, um,
Mhm.
connecting with Sovereign Bodies, it's a good resource. They help so much with healing spaces, with
Mhm.
just basic needs of family members. And many of our families come from um, poverty, poverty, and just have struggles with just basic access to spaces that offer that
Mhm.
healing, or even the individuals and awareness events. And I know the other one that you had mentioned was it Snowbird? You
Snowbird
want to talk
Fund,
about it?
yes. Okay,
Snowbird
the
Fund.
Snowbird Fund, that was a Whitney Williams. She come to us, and there's a few others. We all met and just discussed needs that are unmet needs with families when it comes to searching and our families missing. So basically, they got this Snowbird Fund together, and it's offered up to Montana Indigenous families, no questions asked. It's if you need help to go search, if you need help for flyers, all of that, it's just no questions asked. Here's some help. And it's available more
Okay.
than once. I want that to be, kind of stressed, because they access that Snowbird Fund once and then they don't again, but they can be utilized more than once. So I want to remind them, if you have more than one search, if you have more than one need, reach out to them and reach out to me even. I'll help find more resources. They're building. We got people building, so that's the best part.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I agree, and I really appreciate you sharing those resources. And if there's more, we'll continue to share more. But I want to thank you, Cheryl, so much for sharing with us today, for all your
Mhm.
beautiful, encouraging words, all the advocacy and healing that you bring, to this movement,
Mhm.
in honor of your beautiful nieces, in honor of our
Mhm.
few generations. I'm glad that girls in your community have you. And I really hope that I know you're going to be busy today, but I hope you take some time for yourself, because these conversations, they can be heavy.
Mhm.
And your nieces, they deserve to always be remembered.
Mhm.
And I'm really grateful for this opportunity to learn from you and just hold space with you. And I hope that, one day we can meet in person. If there's any
Oh
last
yes.
words you want to share before we end, you're more welcome.
I just want to thank you, Agnes, for allowing me to bring my voice for my nieces to the table. And I just want to encourage parents to, we're all learning. We don't know right from wrong. Sometimes we make wrong decisions, but I want to tell everybody today's a new day. We might We might not have been happy with things we've done in the past, but that doesn't matter today. Today is a good day. Today is a new day to start over. Today is a new day to whatever it is to find your happiness. And then that trickles down to your children. You know, I'm finding I'm reaching out to all of these children and all of this, but there's parents behind them that also need help. You know, these are serious issues and they're scary for parents too. So I just want to encourage parents, you know, stay strong. Sometimes if you feel alone, remember you aren't alone. You can pretty much, in the last few years, you can pretty much pick up Facebook or social media, put it in a search bar, and you'll find that one of us. And we're not just on social media, we're here for you in real life. You know, we're here to talk, we're here to encourage, we're here to advise, we're here to just listen. You know, sometimes it's just the listening, and that's a lot of healing just to have somebody listen. So just encourage all of our families, you know, just try to center back into your family and ask for help. It's okay. It's okay to ask for help, because thankfully the help is building, you know, whether you're MMIP or not. This goes across the board in families. You know, we just need to work on our strength in our families.
Yes, thank you so much for saying that and sharing all of that. You know, with parents, one thing that my husband always reminds me is that parents may do things that are wrong, but they're never wrong, because most parents are doing the best that they know with the tools that they have. And sometimes that's not nearly as many things as we as parents in our generation know today and understand. So just having that understanding sometimes helps. And again, thank you for sharing all of that. Thank you for your advocacy.
Yeah,
I
thank
want to
you,
acknowledge
Agnes.
any MMP family members that may. Yeah, no problem. Such an honor to have you. Our team at Seating Sovereignty holds all you MMIP family members in our thoughts, and we will continue to amplify and listen to the voices of MMIP families. We will never give up. To learn more and to watch other MIP storytelling episodes, please visit seatingsovereignty.org/MMIP and follow Seating Sovereignty on Instagram and Facebook to stay up to date with what we have going on, the latest MMIP storytelling episodes, and ways you can contribute. Please also consider donating to the MMIP Project on Global Giving. The link can also be found on seatingsovereignty.org/MMIP or on the screen. Your donations help us to compensate our MMIP storytellers for their time, but it also allows us to get immediate suitable care to MMIP family members across Turtle Island. And with that, I just want to once again say, I hope you have a great day, Cheryl. Thank you to everybody who took the time to listen in on all this beautiful knowledge that was shared. Until next time, International.